Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, with my amazing co-host and ride or die on Fridays. It's Drew. How are you today, Drew?
I'm doing great after being introduced as amazing. So thank you so much for that. I think you're pretty amazing yourself.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, you guys are probably not surprised, but we are here to talk about the challenge season 38, episode 4, to do our power rankings. I know we're doing this a little bit earlier than usual, but it's nice to be hanging out during the daylight. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Sometimes like at Friday nights, I'm feeling it, man. I was like feeling it. I've done a couple of videos already that the past week. So Friday nights, I'm like, I don't know. I worry about my energy level, but we're here early, and my energy is high.
High. Early and high. Well, we got to talk about this episode because Drew, your guy, Scuba Nelly, breaks the streak. His losing streak is over. He has won his first daily. What were your thoughts? Were you cheering? And how do you think he used his power?
I was ecstatic. I loved that Nerys was the one that came up with the strategy because I knew she would have to be the one to be the X factor in that duo. We've seen Nelly be on the season after season without winning, so we knew it was like it's something else has got to give in, something else has got to happen for him to win, and I'm so glad that it happened. It kind of happened earlier than I thought it would. Honestly, I thought it would happen a little bit later into the season when there were to be a lot less people in the game to maybe get that win. But I mean, episode 4, I'll take it. So I'm very excited that he got the win. The power thing was a little weak in my opinion, kind of reminiscent to Fessy's power last week. But I love the execution that happened. Shout out to Olivia for giving him all the strategy to not get his hands dirty and to keep everybody that he was hoping to keep safe in this game. So I think that is a win for Nelson and heading out of this week. But what did you think about his power move and his win?
I mean, obviously, I was pretty pumped that he got the win. I also, though, at the same time, really wanted him to go the entire season without having another win, and every single week they would just razz him about it. So I kind of was hoping for that, but nobody really wants to go on these shows and just like continuously lose. And so for his own personal morale, like I was appreciative of that for him. I was also thinking like, we don't think of Nelson as being a really great strategist. And so with this win, like he's learning how to utilize power. And now I don't think that he should have made a big move because we don't know if he really is going to win again. And so I don't think he'd be able to protect a really big move or protect himself from a really big move because the people that he would be going against, I think more likely will win and take him out earlier than maybe they would. I'm happy that he's gotten the winning feeling. So hopefully he'll start winning more. And when he starts winning more, he'll become a more valued member of the vets. And with him being a more valued member of the vets, he might be able to make more moves in the future. So I think that this is positive for him to move in the future. I'm happy that he's with somebody that's strategic, that he listens to, that is smart and likable, and like gets him to do things that are a little bit different than his comfort zone. So I was happy all around with what Nelson did, and I was surprised that it went off so well.
It was same, especially with what happened last week with Tommy and Annalise making that double deal, and it blew up in their faces. And then hearing the deal that was going on this week, I was like, I don't know. After they showed Veronica in the interrogation saying, you can have a plan, but normally this is the challenge and it'll blow up in your face. And I was like, we just saw that happen last week. How is this going to blow up in Nelson's face this week when they think that they have this like big old solid plan? But luckily it didn't happen. Luckily,
I'm thinking that they didn't go and talk to like make a deal with Kim and Colleen. Like I know Nelson made the deal for them, but I don't think that Olivia and Horacio actually said to Kim and Colleen, like, hey, we have a deal. like I won't save you. So I don't think that they're going to be in the same kind of hot water as Tommy and Annalise were, for the fact that I think they only made the deal that we were shown with Veronica and Darrell.
100%. And that's what the difference was. They threw in Colleen and Kim because of what I think Kim and Colleen did in the first episode, where they saved Jack and Laurel because Jack was a rookie. So they were like, we'll save the rookie vet team and throw in the vet team against Sam and Kayla, who are already going in. So they were like, well, Kim and Colleen have this thing with rookies that we'll throw them in and they'll save us no matter what. They don't
exactly.
know Veronica and Darrell at all. So yeah, it was really, really smart.
I was so surprised. Now, I was thinking that so when they were in the interrogation and it was Nelson was saying something like, don't talk to Horatio, you got to talk to Olivia about this, to Darrell and Veronica. I was like, I feel like they're like, opening their hand, like showing their hand here. I was like, I thought that Veronica would have picked up the fact that there was a bigger plan at hand, but it doesn't seem like it. What do you think about Johnny? Do you think Johnny was really snowed by, Olivia's acting skills? Like, her and Nelson were canoodling the night before, and then he nominates her.
Well, I felt that was interesting because maybe Fessy and Colleen weren't as close as they were when he nominated Colleen, but I mean, he nominated two women that he was actively pursuing, or at least talking to. I mean, Bananas even said in the confessional that he was like talking to Laurel, Michelle, Annalise, Colleen, and then Fessy gets into power and he puts up Annalise and Colleen. And I'm like, nobody mentions that, but they mention Olivia and Nelson when Nelson put up Olivia. So I just thought it was interesting. I don't know if he was like bamboozled by the acting skills. I think it was like just the idea of the risky move of Olivia and Nelson are so close with each other, and Nerys is also friends with Olivia, that they would at least put them in some sort of danger, that if just going into the draw could send them into the elimination and possibly be sent home, I think is more of the, wow, that risk factor of just throwing them in. Maybe he thought like, maybe there's a different plan going on, but I think it's the risk factor that they were more surprised on.
For sure. We got some friends joining us. Hi. Yes, Nelly T is the champion of this episode. That's okay, Chris. We know that you are always loyal to us in the evenings. We should be going back to our regular time slot, most likely next week. Who knows with life? Who knows with life? Hello, JL. Hi, Diana. Janelle. Hey. Got lots of friends here. Even MV, you're probably happy that we're here during the day, so it's only evening where you are, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, sweet deal.
Finally made it on time. I know we're early. You're like 9 hours early. Or eight. TJ was so funny when he announced this. Yes, TJ, I think, really enjoyed the fact that he got to give it to Nelly. They've been friends for a while. Nelly's been on the show for about 10 years now?
9 seasons. This is his 9th season. Yeah.
That's pretty hefty. Willie is excited for the rankings. Hi, Lovable Nikki. Oh, we've got lots of people here today. Hello, Julia. Addie's brain. Olivia was so smart to not make a deal with Kim and Colleen. Exactly. That's where, Tommy and Annalise got in a little bit of hot water. So what do you think about the elimination in the zone? It's Tommy and Annalise versus Kim and Colleen, where they're lying on these flats in water, the women, and the men have to pull a rope to make them upright where they can solve a puzzle.
Super simple. Very difficult to execute if you do not have the muscle power or the height. It seems like Tommy was always going to be at a disadvantage, I think, going into any elimination, most likely. And this one was just almost impossible for him. Not my favorite elimination, not by far. Pretty forgettable elimination, in my opinion. The thing I will remember the most is Tommy struggling so hard in this elimination.
And this is the thing, is that obviously I want these challenges to be difficult, to be hard. I don't want it to be super simple for everybody. I want it to challenge them. It's called the challenge. But it was really uncomfortable to watch, in my opinion, seeing Tommy
Yeah.
struggle, how badly he struggled, and how much Kim did not struggle at all. And so he's just seeing them. And I think, though, that Tommy just had the wrong technique. I think that he could have pulled her up. I was talking about this on Wednesday when we went live after the episode. And if he had just like sat back for a second and just like got that tension there and then slowly pulled it up, I feel like he would have been able to slowly pull her up. But he kept on jerking it. It's at an angle where when you jerk it, it's not going to actually, it won't move because you're kind of pulling it in the wrong angle, if that makes sense. So if he had just like hold it still, feel the tension, and then slowly start moving it back, I feel like he could have used his body weight to pull it up. But he was just being so erratic and pulling at it and not realizing like the physics of it all to actually make the rope work with him as opposed to like against him.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about this elimination is that I think this one is the weakest out of the ones that we've seen, not just because of how much of it was a blowout, but I don't like the idea that this one was so like each person was so independent. I know that they're trying to make these eliminations to be where everybody has to work together or do something to help the other person do something. I just felt like this one was such an afterthought of being like, okay, well, the guy will hold up their partner to then for them to do the puzzle. And to me, it was like, well, that's it. Like even Kim was like, this is it. This is all I have to do. When we've seen double-decker hall brawls, we saw the maze where one person controls one aspect of the board and then has to communicate where the other way goes about it. So I think out of all of them, I think this one so far is my least favorite, and I don't care to see this one come back.
Now, do you think you would have liked it more if it was more well balanced?
Maybe. I just feel like it's so lopsided. Like there's so much more for the one person to do with the puzzle than the other person having to hold the rope. I mean, there was just not a lot to do, I think, for both parties, in my opinion.
I was thinking what could have helped maybe was that if even when Annalise was lying down, she was doing another puzzle to help make her maybe lighter or have a little bit of an assist. So she would do a puzzle, and if she got a puzzle done, like maybe she'd tilt up a little bit and like do another puzzle and she'd rise a little bit more. And so like maybe that she could also be helping in the moving of it if like, you know, if Tommy was having trouble, which he was, that could have been a little more helpful because she was just laying there completely helpless and not able to instruct Tommy on how to do this elimination better. It was really hard to watch.
What I was just thought about, and I think would have been way more interesting, would have been like, what if the guys to first do a puzzle to like break out something that's important for the second puzzle that the women would have to do. So like Tommy and Kim would have to do a puzzle to slide out maybe 3 metal balls. And then they would have to give it to the women to do one of those like survivor boards to get the ball all the way down to the maze to get that way that both sides at least have a shot to figure out a puzzle at least. And then that's a better way of trying to introduce two aspects and having to work together in some way to help with the board. I don't know. I just felt like for this to be a ride or die elimination, it was just very lackluster on one side where the guys just had to hold up the women and Tommy just couldn't do it.
I wish he had just even like turned his head and looked at what Kim was doing, because obviously Kim had the strategy. I think height did play into it, absolutely, but Kim wasn't thrusting the rope ever. Right? Like, so why would Tommy think that thrusting the rope would help? Now, TJ does say at the end of the episode that he hopes to see Annalise and Tommy back. Do you think that this was just because Tommy had tried so hard and he was crying after because he really wanted to be there and do well? Or like, do you think he was just, saying what he had to say?
So this is interesting because, not going to lie, the first time I watched the episode, I was like, oh, he wants Tommy and Annalise back on the show. I can see where maybe he wants that. But after rewatching it multiple times, I feel like he was just talking to Tommy almost. He was like, I really enjoyed when you cried because it means that you care. And then you have the Jordan saying, like, I love you, Tommy. Don't ever get down. I want to see you come back. But nobody has a confessional of being like, Tommy and Annalise had a great job. I hope we see both of them come back or whatever. Like, not saying that that was shade towards Annalise, because a lot of this elimination, Annalise was just laying there in the mud puddle, freezing, while Tommy was trying to do as much
She
as he
couldn't do
could. But
anything.
yeah, it just I understand where like all of the focus was on Tommy because of his struggles, but it just sounded like most of everybody was just talking about Tommy wanting to come back. So I don't even know if people want to see Annalise back. Besides some of I know there's some audience members that want to see Annalise
She's
back.
beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think they did enough for me to be like, yeah, I can't wait to see them to come back. You know,
Now, some people
but we
are
probably will,
saying
maybe.
that they would rather see Tommy over any of the people that quit on the Challenge CBS. Do you agree or disagree, and why?
I think Tommy has a big personality, and at least he was there to do some politicking and got some messiness in the game. But I mean, I don't want to see quitters on the show, but there were some people on the Challenge USA that I wouldn't mind seeing come onto the show that I would
More than
maybe want to
Tommy.
see make the debut. Now that we saw what Tommy could bring, I want to see some people, maybe Cinco. I know he didn't quit, but I would like to see Cinco and then some other players, maybe Kayla, on the main season beforehand. Than seeing Tommy for a second season. I would like to see somebody come in with a debut that we haven't seen on an actual challenge season.
Agreed. What did you think about this being a love episode where there was a lot of bed hopping and potentially spit swapping and other maybe bodily fluids?
I mean, at least we saw something, you know? At least we saw some form of it. They went by really quickly. The one that was really surprised me was Jordan and Tori. I didn't think that they would be like in bed, hanging out with each other like that so soon. I thought it would be like a slow build a little bit. But hey, that caught me by surprise. But let's see what's going to happen. I think that's playing with fire, though.
But she said nothing happened. Do you agree? Do you believe her?
I saw some of the sheets move. I saw some of the sheets move before it cut away.
You don't
I
think
don't know
that's
if it
just
was
Tori
like
tooting?
maybe it was her tooting, maybe it was some tickling, maybe they were just talking, but I don't know. It was during the Love Shack. When it's serious when Love Shack by the B-52s are playing in the background.
That is true. That is true. So Willie thinks that Olivia was the mastermind of this whole thing. What do you think about that statement? And then also Diana thinks that it was one of the smarter moves coming from a rookie that was successful. Anisa said on her podcast that Olivia and Horatio pulled off being upset and did not hint to knowing about the plan.
That's awesome. I gotta listen back to that podcast. There's a few things that were leaked out to me from some of the people that watch my videos in the comment sections that some things are being said on that podcast that I want to delve more into.
Is it just a pod or is it a video pod?
I think it's just a podcast on Spotify.
See, like I love putting it on my TV. I just watch YouTube videos on my TV.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess if maybe I could put Spotify on my TV, but it's just like not the same. I don't listen to podcasts really. I have to remember
I do think Olivia is the mastermind, though. It's from the confessionals and from the edit. It seemed like it was her plan to come up with like, just send us in. It'll hide the fact that we're so close, and it will kind of sever those ties. When we hear everything that Nelson is saying, he's basically telling Nerys that we can't put up 2 vet teams because it will hurt our chances in the long run. And then at the club scene, I mean, Nelson is putting on that speech of like, we got to send you guys in. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to win. I didn't want to do this, but we're going to have to do it. And then that's when Olivia's like, light bulb, here's how you do it and keep us safe. And then Nelson is like, oh, that's a great plan. And then he's like in the interrogation, like having a grand old time saying pretty much everything that Olivia had already said in the bar scene. So I definitely think that Olivia is very smart.
Now, I was asked earlier on today if who I was rooting for this season. Who do I want to win? And I actually couldn't answer at this point. I don't know who I want to win. So who are you rooting for if you know?
See, this is the thing. I love just watching the season like fall together and see what happens. Now, as the season goes on, there'll be people that maybe I'm not super excited about, and then there'll be some people that surprise me. And I found that every season I might hate a person one season, and then the next season they have a different storyline. They come in with a different attitude, and I start to like kind of lean towards that person to want to see them do well at least. So I don't necessarily have like a driving force that I'm like rooting for. I think I really like Olivia and Horacio. I like what they've been showing us for the first 4 episodes, and I would love to see them go farther. Despite I know that they're going to be the underdogs, and with more people that leave, the more times that they're probably going to get nominated and possibly be sent into elimination. I really like Colleen and Kim from this past week's episode. We got to see more of their
Yeah.
personality. So to me, I'm actually starting to like them a little bit more now. And I don't know. I'm pretty much on cruise control with the vets, in my opinion. Like everybody, we know what we're getting from them. They're not getting a lot of screen time, and I'm just like cool with it at this point.
So you're not all in on Fessy and Mariah?
No, what?
Just kidding.
That's from last episode, but no.
Okay, well, let's maybe get to our rankings here. You said you might had a couple of new tiers that you wanted to introduce this week.
I have one, and the one I wanted to throw in there that kind of goes with this season / this episode. Instead of riding the fence, what about we do double dealing? Like,
yeah,
because Tommy and Annalise double dealed. You're kind of doing that with riding the fence. You're not really in one or the other. You're kind of double dealing on both sides, sort of thing. So I thought that would be a better way to kind of integrate more into the theme of the season and add something from the season into the mix.
I like double dealing. This is kind of long, but I was thinking maybe for the last one, like cardio is not my vibe. What about if you lie, you gone?
I like that.
All right. Also said by Olivia.
Wow, Olivia's getting a lot of quotes this season. It's only episode 4.
I know. I mean, she's definitely making her mark. No, I don't want to do it like that. Okay. If you lie, you. I don't know if she said you or your, but I think you gone sounds better.
Yeah. This is our rankings.
We can do what we want. Well, Drew, who do you want to start with? Where do you want to put them?
Oh man, do I want to start with an easy layup already? Oh, man.
Hi, Dolores.
Hey, let's start with an easy one. I feel like we're going to be doing this every single week. And it's not necessarily they're double dealing. Where are we gonna put them now that we've made double dealing? I'm talking about Casey and Kenny. No, one confession.
I actually had to think for a second who that was. That's really weird. Because I was like, who's Casey? And I was thinking Kayla for a second, and then I was like, and then I was thinking the other Kayla, and then I actually for a moment, and then I was thinking Kenny from like back in the day. Like I actually got confused for a moment. Wow. Okay, that says something.
Yeah. No. I mean, where are we gonna put them? Because one confessional between the both of them. Kenny got no confessional. Everybody got one confessional except for Kenny. Like everybody got at least one. And when I say at least one, the only person that got one only is Casey. So they are on cruise control. They're not given anything for this season, but they're not really dead team walking. They're not double dealing.
But Justin wants to maybe potentially put in a new tier. Nelson's win. Is that top tier?
Nelson's win. I mean, or
the mastermind plan.
I don't know.
Okay, no, fine.
What about? I feel like we're gonna have to change it. If we put in Nelson's win, it will change it because he's gonna lose like the next 6 in a row.
Most likely.
For Casey and Kenny,
like maybe a top tier could be Kim's confessionals. They're good. He's funny.
What about instead of what if one tier is visiting grandma on Sunday?
So that's bad. That's a low tier, I would think.
Yeah,
Should we take out Walking Living Mistake and like Grandma's House on Sunday?
we can. Yeah,
Is that a good one to take
I,
out, or do you want to take out another one?
I mean, it has to be a low tier, and we could just change it from Walking Living Mistake to Sundays at Grandma's. Because it's like the same thing almost. It's not a mistake
Yeah.
to visit your grandma, but you're kind of like sitting there going like, "Oh, could do something else."
Okay, that works for me. Okay, sorry I cut you off with
No,
important tier making news.
I mean, any news is important when talking about Casey and Kenny. I'm going to suggest this, and I think I could be really, really out of left field here, but I want to put Casey and Kenny at. I was going to suggest Walking Living Mistake because was a mistake to have both of them on this cast for this season because they are giving us legit nothing. But I also think that they also deserve to be in Sundays at Grandma's because they are boring. I mean, if we're talking about not wanting to visit grandma on
I'm
Sunday,
not wanting to visit this team either.
yeah, I would rather visit Kim's grandma on Sundays than watch Casey and Kenny on the challenge because we get nothing from them. So that's where I would suggest Sundays at Grandma's.
I can't even come close to disagreeing. They have not stirred a pot. They've definitely not earned any stripes. They haven't won a daily yet. They have not had to go into the elimination to like prove themselves on the whatever in the zone. They aren't really making any double deals that we've seen. I don't think that they're a dead team walking. I think that they're well insulated. So I think that, they're going to be here for a while, most likely. I don't think that they're pussy chicken because I do think that Casey, for the most part, at least is very willing to do pretty much anything. I've never really seen her be scared of anything. And so, yeah, like she also referenced her family not being really that excited about, the death defying daily that their children are doing. So that's kind of related to the family zone. So I think Sundays at Grandma's is the only suitable tier that for these two. Like truly.
Sweet deal.
What okay, who else is on the boring side? I guess we gotta put Annalise and Tommy here in If You Lie, You Gone. Where do you think they go, though, in the ranking of these bottom teams?
I would say, man, I guess I would put them above Sam and Kayla, in my opinion. At least when they lasted longer.
Something.
And they did something, yeah. They actually talked to people rather than listening to Kayla say, "Don't talk to anybody. Don't say anything. Be alone." It's like, what?
How brutal to go out first. Sorry, Kayla. That sucks. That's so bad. Especially after being second place in Hell Stars, like then going out first. Eesh. I agree with them being there. I do think I would fear more Turbo and Tamara or Johnny and Raven if like between the three of them. I think that those the other two teams are more feared. So yeah, I think they're in a good spot there. Yeah. All right, so that was just me killing some time here. Let's go with another team that we really didn't see that much this episode. I do feel that I think that one of them got at least one confessional, and he was talking about I don't even remember. So Devin and Tori is the next team that I think we should talk about. They're kind of in a Sundays at Grandma zone for me right now. They didn't get thrown into the elimination, so they do have some. I mean, I don't think that Nelson would have thrown Devin in because I think they're from the same Are You the One season. So that's a kind of an unbreakable bond. But they didn't really do that much this episode. So at this point, you could definitely convince me otherwise, but I would put Devin and Tori ahead of Kenny and Casey on Sundays at Grandma's.
I think that I would agree with you with Devin, but I would say that Tori
Oh, I guess she got in
kind
the
of
bed. Stir the
changed this
pot.
from a PG rating to maybe a PG-13. There is now it hasn't really happened just yet, but I do think that there's a pot on the stove. There's a little bit of chicken broth on there. There's some carrots cut up in it. We're waiting for the water to really get into a roaring boil because I think something big will happen with her getting into bed with Jordan or Jordan getting into her bed, and then the drama's going to ensue. I mean, something's going to happen this season between them, and it's not going to be all rainbows and sunshine with how strong of a bond that they had, and for how long of a relationship they had, and how tumultuous it was. So I do think that I would be more viable to put it pot stirring because I think that there is something to them this episode, and we got a little bit of spice in there that I think is going to really be kicking in later down the line.
Well, let's take it to the chat. The chat, what do you think? Do you think that that Devin and Tori should be in the Sundays at Grandma's tier? More so Devin. I do agree with Drew. Devin was pretty invisible this episode with what was going on strategically. They didn't do well in the daily, so like there wasn't really much going on with them as a team. But as Drew did mention, we do see Tori potentially starting to stir the pot. She's just putting the ingredients in the pot, as Drew liked to remind us. It hasn't started boiling yet. We haven't started stirring the pot yet, but it's like a pre-pot stir. So what do you think? Where do you think we should place Tori and Devin? Let's see what people say. Willie thinks stirring the pot. Okay, one for you. Justin thinks Sundays at Grandma's. Okay, we're even. Earn the stripes for me. I got my eye on you. What do you mean? Really, with Devin and Tori? I can't.
I mean, they did win a daily challenge, and
but no, this is this episode. You know, we gotta talk about this episode.
Right. But I mean, not everybody's gonna be featured in every single episode. So I think people are taking into account like what they could.
But we had them in the top spot though, their episode when they won that though, right?
I think we had them stirring at the pot.
Oh.
On both times. I don't think we've ever threw them up at the top spot just yet.
Tori has given us some really interesting content on mental health. They won an elimination and they've been strategic, so I'd go higher. Okay. That seems like stirring the pot is. Interesting. I think dead team walking because they'll likely be a target soon, says Diana.
Interesting.
Lovely Vicky says Sundays with Grandma. Sundays definitely specific, especially for someone of Devin's caliber of pot stirring. Interesting. So yeah, the fact that Devin is a great pot stirrer, and he's not exercising his forte here, could that take him down a couple notches?
I mean, he had some pot stirring moments last episode that weren't shown. So, I mean, he really doesn't have to stir the pot every single episode to start a fight with somebody or do something. I feel like that would put more of a target on your back than really trying. Like, it would be looked at as trying too hard, I think, if he's trying to start up fights every single episode.
But shouldn't he maybe stir the pot for the episode where we're going to rank him as a pot stirrer?
Well, I'm talking more of Tori. I'm thinking more of Tori is like stirring that pot. Devin is like the chef looking over the shoulder of the sous chef, being like, "You sure you want to be doing that?"
I feel like we have more Sundays. I don't know. How are you feeling, Drew?
I mean, we could put them in Sundays. I mean, we're gonna have this Sunday filled. I feel because there is a couple of people that did not do anything, and there's people that have done less than them this episode. So if we're starting this line of Tori and Devin being at Grandma's when she's getting into bed with her ex fiance,
okay, when you say it like that,
then I have to put I have to check a pulse for Bananas and Nani when we get to talking about them.
All right. Just how you phrased it sounded messy. Fine. Drew, you win. You win, but not going to win the next one. Who do you got?
I mean, I just talked about Bananas and Nani. We could talk about them if you would like to. I think this episode, they were very much Sundays at Grandma's, but I almost feel like they're double dealing. And I want to bring this up because you brought it up last week with Bananas coming in and consoling Annalise and Tommy. And you were like, that seems like something that is like riding the fence kind of vibe, kind of double dealing. And then this episode, you had Nani talking to Annalise and Tommy in the club, trying to give them a pep talk on what could they do to try to stay out of the elimination. What could they say to Nelson and Nerys to save themselves from getting a one-way ticket and maybe just at least getting a draw, just getting to pick up a knife. So I don't know. I feel like they didn't get a lot of confessionals. Bananas got like 4. Nani got like 1 or 2. They were really putting it into autopilot, I think, now that so many vets are in the game and they don't have to make a whole bunch of deals. And I think that they are trying to start up some relationships and conversations with some of the rookie side. So in my opinion, this episode and a little bit of last episode, I would put Bananas and Nani in double dealing here. But what about you?
I'm going to agree with you. Dang it. Because, like, especially for the fact that we have Nani earlier on in the episode talking about Laurel and Veronica kind of being in a little bit of hot water for the fact that they're coming in late, even though she just came in like a week and a half ago. And so I feel like she's insulated with the vets, but then she's also kind of willing to, I don't know if she would throw Darrell and Veronica under the bus, but it seems as though, she would have let them, be called out if she had any say. So I think that she might be double dipping a little bit. I think that they might be, working with the rookies, but then kind of working with the vets, but then seemingly wanting to allow Darrell and Veronica to go down into the zone if necessary. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that she's more loyal to the vets, absolutely. But I see her working her magic with those rookies. And even Johnny having that conversation with Olivia, it seems like he wanted to be supportive of her and be like, oh, I can't believe he did that. And like, he didn't want to necessarily get any blowback for Nelson's action as a vet, it seemed. So yeah, I think that they are both trying to worm their way into the good graces of both the rookies and the vets, and a lot of double dealing is going on between these two, in my opinion. So I agree.
Sweet deal.
Well, does the audience agree with us? Chat, do you think that that's a good spot for them? Do you have any other places where you think that they would fit better? I think that they're double dealing. They're sneaky.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, who am I going to do next, though? Oh, dear. Well, they were... Okay, next up is, I think I want to place this team also in double dealing. I think I'm going to have to put Jack and Laurel in the double dealing category as well. We see Laurel having a bit of a flirtmance or whatever going on with Horacio, who is about 10 years her junior. And we see Jack, though, I think he wants to kind of be connected with both the rookies and the vets. And because they are a split team, I do think that a little bit of double dealing is kind of going on. I do feel as though Laurel is way more loyal to the vets, but I could see that she probably is trying to make some deals with Horacio and Olivia. I don't think that if they were to win, that they would be one of the 4 vets that are going to be thrown into the zone. So my mind could be changed, but for right now, I'm thinking Jack and Laurel are double dealing a little bit less than Nani and Johnny.
I can see where you're coming from. The only other spot I would view them in And this new tier is going to get a lot of working out. But I think Sundays at Grandma could also be viewed. They have not done anything this season. We have gotten little content from either Laurel or Jack. And is it just me, or is Horacio just not that into Laurel? At least that's from what the edit seems like. He kind of is just like, I don't know if he's really shy or if he's just like, I like having Laurel having my back. She's a champ. She's strong. But when she goes in for that hug a couple of times, I don't know. It reminded me of somebody hugging their grandma and just being like, all right, see you later. Bye. I don't want to be doing this anymore, kind of thing. So
I mean,
that's
she
the only
does
other
look like
place
she wants to devour him. And he's quite young, so I think he might be a little bit scared.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't think he can handle Laurel right now.
Well.
So wait, so you're putting them at Sundays at Grandma's?
That would be the only other tier that I would see them being put in there. But I'm cool with doing double dealing because of the same kind of vibe that she's playing into some of the vets game, but also trying to pursue a rookie. And yeah, I think that she could be playing both sides. And then also, what was it? Raven came out on social media saying that whoever wins, Jack is like their best friend and butters them up every single time. So, I mean, that could also be viewed as double dealing. If we could see more of that, that would be great. But he's just not getting any camera time.
It might be next episode because it seems like, well, at least Laurel might be in the hot seat next episode. So I'm not sure if it's because they win or lose. I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but I feel like they're going to be highlighted next week. So hopefully we'll get some more Jack. So Whitney says, I think Horacio was upset about the Tommy and Annalise journey, about Tommy and Annalise during that hug. True. Yeah. She's probably like, oh, I want to go in for this hug with this man. Ooh.
It just seems like there's a lot more interest on Laurel's side than on Horacio's side. Like, we got a whole confessional of her being like, I wake up and I get to see him across the way. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then we never get to hear anything from Horacio being like, yeah, I'm really into Laurel. She's really amazing. And I can't wait to always see her and talk to her every single day. Just nothing from his side.
You remember though, when they had that first conversation where he's like, I don't know how to talk to girls. And like, I don't know what to say. And Dan here is saying that Horacio's too nice, that he can't tell Laura that he doesn't like her. What do you think? Do you think that Horacio does not like Laurel at all? Or do you think that he's just not capable of, he's just nervous and shy?
I think he appreciates Laurel and having somebody in his corner that's not Olivia. That's not just only Olivia. That I think that he likes somebody there. He likes a veteran having his back and having that in with the vets. And I'm sure she's really cool to talk about. They work out with each other. So I feel like she's really great friend-wise. I just don't see like that pull with Horacio that we get from Laurel. That's why I was saying, like, we haven't even gotten a confessional from him being like, I really like Laura. He's not even like having to talk directly to her, but he could have her he could be saying something in the confessional where production's like, what do you think about Laurel? And then he's like, oh, well, she's really great. And then blushing and everything, but never really said anything.
Well, I guess they're probably saving these confessionals because like they've definitely asked these questions, so they're probably saving some of these responses for something down the road when they break up or whatever happens. So Dan would put them in dead team walking. Dan, explain yourself. I don't think that they're next to go. Which teams would be putting them in right now? I think. Go ahead.
I think it's. If you looked at the preview to next week and then somehow my TV, I don't know how, it found its way onto a marathon of ridiculousness for a couple of hours yesterday.
And you watched it intentionally, or you were in like a?
It was on in the background. It was on in the background while I was working, doing other things. But there was a couple of times where a preview to next week's challenge episode, which I found very kind of spoilerish if you're watching those, but it alluded to Laurel kind of being maybe someone to have to watch her back next week. So I think what Dan is alluding to is the fact that they're not getting a lot of camera time despite Laurel coming back after not being on for the past couple of seasons, her being a champ, somebody that people may be wanting to look out for in the game, and she's not getting much of anything on this season besides being talked about in I don't know, a romantic way bouncing in between Fessy and Horacio, that if she was this like beast of a competitor, that she would be getting a lot more camera time and a lot more narrative than seeing her either talking to Horacio or losing a daily challenge.
So Ray says on the podcast, he said he's into her. Which podcast? Well, not directly. He alluded to it. Okay.
Yeah.
He probably just doesn't
That's
know
what
what
do.
he can and cannot say for the show, because he's new to reality TV. So he's probably like, I don't want to say anything and get sued by MTV. So he's probably like, we'll see. Whitney says, I think we're going to get Laurel's perspective more because it's Laurel. That's true. That's true. Yes, he said that he was a great friend and he wouldn't mind getting romantic with her at the same time. Okay, go ahead.
I would just want to throw this out there. Laurel gets like 1 or 2 confessionals every single week, and one of them deals with Horacio. Horacio gets 8 to 10 confessionals in the past 2 episodes, and not many talking about Laurel and his relationship with her. Just throwing that out there. I mean, yes, it's Laurel, but if it was reciprocated enough, I would think that they would be talking each other at the same time. Kind of like what we got with Olivia and Nelson this past week's episode, or Tori and Jordan.
Daddy. I was so excited that Olivia's coming back home to Daddy.
I shook when he said that. I shivered. I let out a shiver when the first time I heard that.
So not good.
No, thank you.
It's not good. Laurel is my all-time favorite, right behind Jenny. Okay. Oh, Jemmy. Sorry. I mean, I really like Laurel. A lot of people don't necessarily. But I'm a fan. And if next week is the week we're gonna see what she can or cannot do, like I want to see Laurel in a little bit of the hot seat. I want to see a little bit of fire coming out of Laurel and a little bit of vitriol. Give me a little hint of toxicity, please, Laurel. Tiny little bit. Okay, so I still Dead Team walking. I'm not that scared for them, even though it's possible that they're going to be going in or whatever. Like I feel like I'm not scared for them as much as I am maybe for some other teams. So
I could see double dealing.
I think I'm going to leave them here unless you say otherwise.
No, I think we're good. I think that was my original. I just wanted to throw in a what if, just to see.
Love it. Who do you got next?
You know what? I really want to talk about Amber and Chauncey.
I knew it.
Last couple of weeks, Amber has gotten 0 confessionals. This episode, she got a couple, and it's thankful that Darrell came into the game and she starts to get some confessionals. We see her talking to Nerys, Olivia, Michelle, and we even hear from Chauncey saying that Amber's the leader of the rookies. And I don't know. I feel like this episode, we didn't get that much more, but we got some building blocks. And what I think I want to put them, and could be, again, a little bit too hasty, but I think I want to put them in stirring the pot because I think they're gathering up the numbers. I mean, Nerys says that she wants to put in 2 vets teams, and I think that has to deal with her alliances towards Olivia, Michelle, and Amber. And I don't know. I think that there's something building. It may not happen next episode, but I think that it's the building blocks to see what's going to happen maybe 2 episodes from now, 3 episodes from now, or 5 episodes from now, when less people are in the game, and then Amber maybe somehow finds her and Chauncey into power, and then boom, she's throwing up maybe 3 vet teams. Maybe she's throwing in Casey and Kenny and nominating Fessy, and maybe we could have this big brother brawl happening against each other. I think that would be awesome. That would be revenge on top of revenge. And now I'm going to get myself overworked and thinking how great that would be, because it might not happen and I would be very upset.
So where are we putting them?
I suggested stirring the pot.
Stirring the pot. Right. Okay. So, I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from. I do see how she could be the leader of the rookies. We were saying that before the season started, that that's what she should be doing, because she's never really going to be respected with the Big Brother Alliance or with the Vet Alliance. Now that she has Darrell back there, she might be a little bit better insulated, because Darrell may bring her into the vet dealings. But Darrell said this episode that he has no alliances, he has no allegiances. So I don't know how well he will take care of Amber when she's not his partner. Are they really stirring the pot? I don't know. They just don't really seem to be doing that much. Like, guess they had a few more confessionals than they have in the past couple of weeks. But it seems as though she just sat there while Michelle was talking and Nerys was talking and Olivia was talking. Like, I didn't really hear her contribute. Maybe I'm just misremembering, but did she contribute to that conversation?
I don't know about that specific conversation, but she was in there, and I'm sure there was some stuff talking about it. But Olivia and Nerys both were like, oh, well, the underdogs need to stick together kind of vibe. And if Chauncey is saying that Amber is the leader of the rookies and all the rookies are saying we all need to stick together, I think that means that Amber is grabbing up the numbers and kind of stirring up something to maybe make a big move later on in the game. So I don't know if we heard something directly from her, but we also got more confessionals of her being like, Darrell's in the game, I could trust him 100%. And I'm thinking that could be more numbers on Amber's side, somebody that wouldn't throw her directly into the elimination. So I think that this was the building blocks to stirring it.
A double dealing type situation where she's kind of playing like, I know that Chauncey's saying that she's stuck her flag in the rookie side of things, but it doesn't see, from what I've seen her do, she hasn't really claimed that position yet. So could she be more so double dealing than stirring the pot?
I don't see. This is the thing though. When we talk about Darrell and Veronica, I feel like they're on the outside. Every confessional that they got was, we don't have numbers. We're not connected. We're coming in 3 weeks late while everybody else has connections already. And then Nelson decides to throw in Darrell and Veronica and nobody bats an eye. So, but if say Johnny and Nany didn't win episode 2, if somebody would have nominated them, everybody would have been like, that guy's going against the vets. They're going against the vets. Or the same thing with Jordan and Anisa. They'd be like, oh, they're going against the vets. Yet Nelson and Nerys are like, oh, we'll just throw them in and nobody's going to care. And nobody did. Nobody really cared. Darrell and Veronica were like, oh, man, well, hopefully we'll get to have some numbers at the end of this. So I just feel like Darrell and Veronica are being held at arm's length away from the vets. Like, they'll be a part of it, but there was no confessional of Johnny being like, thank goodness you're here, Darrell and Veronica. We need more numbers. Jordan wasn't like, oh my gosh, Darrell, yes, I'm so happy that you're here from All Stars 3. It's like, no, whatever. You're going in. Hopefully you'll stay, but maybe not.
You just get Fessy's response to Darrell being like, hey, so how's it going, man? He's like, oh, just winning dailies. That's it. Shut up, Fessy. So annoying. So Whitney says Amber is both leading the rookies and protected from the vets for a few weeks. I'd put them at the top of the chart. All right. You've convinced me. We'll put them at stirring the pot for the fact that it does seem like things are rumbling, and their name doesn't seem to be mentioned from either side, which is why I think double dealing. But I think I can put them in stirring the pot. I respect that. Are they stirring the pot more or less than Tori and Devin?
That's debatable. I would like to hear what the chat has to say about that. I personally think that it's less, just slightly less, when comparing what happened this episode.
Yeah, I agree. Actually.
I think there was 2 rumblings, but not. I think what's going to explode from Tori and Jordan is going to be much bigger.
Way more. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, unless Amber throws in like Fessy or something like that, like, I just don't really see any of their pot stirring to really have an explosion. I agree.
Yeah, agreed.
But like, whatever's going to happen with Tori and Jordan seems like it could be messy.
Very.
Messy. It's possible. Okay, well, who are we going to do next? It's my turn, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's do. All right. I kind of just mentioned half of this team for his cocky attitude and for just to let Darrell know that he's won a daily already. I mean, I guess that's just to show him that he's already wielding power. But let's talk about Fessy and Faisal and Mariah.
Okay.
I think I want to put him in Pussy Chicken.
Really?
Okay. Well, it's just that with him, like, I just feel like he acts like I mean, I guess he's stirring the pot with like his bed romps, but like he's only about, like, he says that he's here to win. He's not here for any romance. But he's also like only really putting in any effort in the romance department with somebody that's not even going to help him in his game. And I do think that he's scared of Jordan. I think he's scared to a certain extent of Darrell. So yeah, for right now, I could definitely be convinced otherwise. I want him in Pussy Chicken because it's funny.
I could see it because I remember that tweet saying that he didn't like Jordan and CT were like the goats and that he would be nervous for them to be on the seasons and stuff. So he was worried about Jordan winning into power because he didn't know what was going to happen. But I think that was also like understandable with the history between him, Tori, and Fessel and everything that went on that in that weird 2-month span of them breaking up and then them going to the vacation together. I almost think that if we're not going to put him here, it would be double dealing because he could be known as quadruple dealing at one point in this game with how he was going about it, flipping back from Michelle, Laurel, Colleen, Annalise, rookie, vet.
Now when I think of double dipping, though, I'm actually thinking of like used condoms. It's making me feel sick. But go on.
That's gross. I did not think of that.
With you bouncing back from bed to bed. Anyways, sorry, go on.
I mean, he didn't even have to bounce from bed to bed. I mean, they were coming to him
That's
at
true.
one point. And then he ordered delivery when he got Colleen carrying her to his bed and then dropping her in there. So I don't know. I think more so I'd be leaning towards double dealing with since we're putting Laurel in that for pursuing both Fessel and Horacio. But I could understand where you're coming from with him being scared, especially with Jordan possibly winning.
So MV says send it to grandma purely because it's Fessy.
Dang.
Definitely Pussy Chicken. I mean, it was kind of a joke placement. I don't necessarily think that he's Pussy Chicken this particular week. His partner had no visibility. Did she have a confessional this episode?
Yes, she did. She talked about Tommy getting too much into his own head during the daily or during the elimination. Right. That was it. Also, we find out that her nickname is Bow-Legged Baddie.
I would not be happy with that. Like, I would not want someone to refer to me as a bow-legged baddie. And I was looking at her legs.
Backhanded compliment.
It didn't seem like her legs were bow-legged, though. I was looking at her legs when they said that, and I was like, it doesn't seem like they're bow-legged. Anyways, double dipping, you know, he could be considered stirring the pot as well for the fact that this could get messy, and he definitely does not care about putting up Kim and Colleen, even though he's having her be in his bed. So that definitely could explode into, not explode, but erupt to a certain extent, overflow, boil over slightly. So there's potential for it to be stirring the pot a little bit as well. So What do you think? Do you still stand strong with double dipping, or do you think he's a little more
I,
of a pot stir?
something that came to my mind with possibly double dealing is that last week he told Tommy and Annalise to send Olivia and Horacio into the elimination on the basis that, hey, we'll work with each other kind of vibe. Like maybe he didn't say like we'll work together, but it's like we're big brother. We should be working together. He nominates them and then tells them to send in Olivia and Horacio. This episode, Tommy and Annalise are in the elimination. Maybe he's working with them, but he's sitting there going, I want Colleen and Kim to come back into the game because I'm getting to know Colleen. So to me, I feel like that's double dipping in a sense of like, hey, I'm kind of working with these rookies, but I could see them go and I don't care because I really want Colleen to stay in this game instead of working
Why
with
are
Big Brother numbers, which has been a thing this whole time.
You have your Libra hat on today. Definitely lawyer attitude coming on. There's something because like you have convinced me. You convinced me of the double dealing tier, Drew. Even though I gave you two, I feel strong arguments for other placements, I do agree with you at this point that what are we doing? Was it Fessy? Where is
Fessel?
he?
He's up in the tier actually. He's already you placed
him.
Oh,
okay. I'm like, where did he go? Oh, and Pussy Chicken. I'm like, I was not looking there for him. Okay, so between the double dealing zone, I think that maybe his double dealing ahead or I'm gonna put it behind. I think behind like the least strong double dipping out of these three teams. What do you think?
Okay, I'm cool with that.
Because I feel like we're going to get more out of the outcomes of the other people's double dealing than we will from his. We're going to get more for bang for a buck for the other two teams.
Yeah, and we don't know exactly how close Tommy and Annalise were with him. Like we didn't get a lot of confessionals from how close they are. So it is I would agree with that.
All right, well, who are you going to convince me of next?
I don't think I can convince anything from the last couple of teams that we have. I feel like this is going to be me trying to guess on the fly of where to put everybody. I guess we'll take the least exciting couple as of right now, and I'm going to say Jay and Michelle. And I have no idea where to put them. Maybe dead team walking at this point. I mean, they're not really maybe they're double dealing, but they didn't do anything this episode. They kind of got barely any confessionals. They could have won the possible daily challenge. They could not get it done. And thankfully, Nelson and Nerys were in power. They didn't have to worry about going in because Nelson and Nerys were never going to put them in. So that's a good thing. They do have some numbers, but pretty quiet episode, in my opinion. So I want to put them in dead team walking.
Do I have any objections? Not really. I mean, I do have faith in them in general, but I don't know if I have faith in them in this particular season with this makeup of other contestants. I mean, I like the fact that it seems like Michelle is getting herself into the rookie girls. That's good. But she still has the liability of Jay, who the rookie guys, or Johnny Bananas anyways, doesn't seem to want to work with at all. And so I feel like his liability allows him to be a dead team walking because it doesn't seem like any of the vets are going to protect them. And do you think another rookie team or a team that has rookie influence is going to win the next daily? I don't know. So I just don't know if if they're going to be safe. And so I definitely could see them be in the hot seat, or at least one of the four people pulling the daggers next week. And that's a dead team walking spot. So I agree with you. Dead team walking.
Yeah. Who, how many other rookie teams are there? I mean, that's Olivia and Horacio and Colleen and Kim. Is that it? Is that all the rookie teams that are left? Because if
Yeah.
so, then I'm worried for Jay and Michelle. Because I
Yeah.
think the next two teams up, if like say Bananas and Nani won into power, or even Fessel and Mariah win into power again, I have a feeling it could be Olivia and Horacio, Colleen and Kim, because they've been in multiple times already, and then Jay and Michelle, and Amber and Chauncey. I mean, I feel
Yep.
like that's the hierarchy of where things could end up next time if either one of those two teams get into power, or any team that's influenced by those two teams. So that's where I would lock in Dead Team Walking.
Yeah, they're close. They're going to be in the hot seat next episode. They're definitely going to be in the zone. I don't know if they're going to be fighting for their life, but they're going to be one of the 4 teams nominated most likely.
Yeah.
For me, who do I have next? Well, let's talk about the only a rookie team that's left. Let's talk about Kim and Colleen. Um, should we put them at the top for the fact that they earned their stripes this week? Well, you can convince me otherwise. Kim and Colleen, they've just been kind of easygoing. They haven't really put their mark in the strategic element of this game, but they've been going down and they're either pulling the safety dagger or having someone save them. They've not allowed it to make them bitter or mean. They're still really likable. Their confessionals are getting better and better. Colleen is, she's getting cozy with one of the vets, which I don't think it will help her out, but it could a little bit, slightly. And so the fact, though, that they went down and they pretty easily won against Tommy and Annalise, like that was the best team for Tommy and Annalise to have a really great shot at winning against, and they didn't even come close. We see those confessionals with Kim being like, "Is this it? It's this easy? Like, what is everybody, so scared of going down into the zone for? This was simple." And so, as much as they might be thrown back in again, I do feel as though they earned their stripes a little bit this episode.
I don't think that people are going to say that I'll just speak for myself. I don't know if they've earned their stripes for me for this past week's episode. They did go into elimination. They didn't necessarily want to go into elimination. They they felt like they were blindsided a little bit by being sent in by another rookie team. To me, I believe it is double dipping or double dealing. I don't know why double dipping, double dealing in a sense that they expect a rookie team to save them. They act like they are fully for the rookies and wanting to be rookies through and through. Yet we have Colleen hooking up with Fessel and feeling like she will be protected by him in some way in this game. I love that they got their elimination win. I'm glad that they are staying in this game. I'm glad we got more confessionals from them. The only thing is I think people will come back and be like, almost like what they were saying about Olivia and Horacio's when everybody was helping them in the elimination against Turbo and Tamara, and be like, oh, well, Tommy couldn't. It was almost like people will say it was physically impossible for Tommy to win that or to pick Annalise up. So they're going to be like putting, I don't know, personally an asterisk next to them being like, oh, well, they didn't really have to go up against anybody in physical. Yeah, it wasn't a fair fight. So in my personal dealing, I think it would be double dealing where I would. What about
TJ saying you went up against a monster? So we got Kim at monster status with TJ.
TJ doesn't know what he says half the time, I believe. I don't know what he says, but he's like, he's a monster. Colleen could be an idiot on the puzzle. Luckily, she wasn't, kind of thing. Like, I don't know. He didn't show any monster vibes for me, but I loved his confessionals. Every confessional he had, I made me want to see Kim more and more. Absolutely. On my TV. Like this, he's awesome. Why did we wait so long for Kim to at least have some reactionary shots and confessionals? Him, when Fessel and Colleen were like getting into bed with each other, was awesome. He didn't say a word for like 3 confessionals, and it was the best confessionals of the season.
Yeah, no, I do enjoy both of them, to be honest. They're a great new rookie addition. And they're just good spirits, but then they also are kind of funny. And they're trying to win. I like that they were trying new things in the daily. It didn't work because she hesitated, because he's like, jump, and she's like, jump, and then she ran. And I was like, no, like you'd have to go and jump when he was saying to jump, not for you to repeat jump with a question mark and then run and jump. So she kind of messed that up, I think, because he did have the appropriate swing timing for that to work out. But I don't know why she didn't realize that wasn't going to be a good time to jump, but that's okay. We still like you, Colleen. You're cute. So Willie thinks that Colleen and Kim are dead team walking. They keep getting targeted. I could definitely see this to be a good spot for them as well. Eventually they're not going to be that lucky in the zone.
Yes. I mean, you would think the one team that would have their backs would be Fessy, and he already nominated them. So, yeah. I mean, they're not safe. They're not safe. But because their elimination win, I don't want to put them in dead team walking for this episode in particular. So okay. I would say that I would want to go up a little bit higher, but I would go up one higher to double dealing.
Double dealing. All right. I will let you have it, Drew. Let you have it. Take me down a couple of notches and we'll place them at double dealing. I totally hear your argument with them being more than just a dead team walking this episode, for the fact that they did come out with a win. They got a monster from TJ. I mean, that's some props. Like, whether or not TJ knew what he was saying or not, he did say it. And sometimes we do believe what TJ says, so we'll believe them this time. So Kim and Colleen are double dealing. Who do you have next? Since you just love everybody double dealing, is it going to be someone else double dealing? Did you create that new tier just so you can put everybody there?
I did not. I didn't know this was going to happen. I thought more people would be in Sundays at Grandma's, to be honest. But out of the rest of the teams that are left, none are going to be going to Grandma's, I feel. So I'm going to say, let's talk about Veronica and Darrell. They come in the season at the beginning of this episode, fully expected that we were going to get a breakfast, maybe a brunch meeting with Bananas, Jordan, and they were going to talk about how, look, the rookies are coming in hot. We got to stick together. All the vets have got to stick together. Like, we got to do this. We are legends. We're champions. And we're going to have to do something to stick together. Nothing came from it. We got no confessionals or no conversations shown on screen between Darrell, Bananas, Nani, anybody. I mean, nobody. I mean, the happiest person for Darrell and Veronica coming into the game was Anisa, and that was it. So I think they will be somewhat looked after, but your first episode in, people are talking about you coming in late to the game as if they were the only pair to come in late to the game. There was two other people that came in late. Yet Darrell and Veronica come in late. It's used as an excuse to send them into an elimination. They're worried about their connections in the game already when there's supposedly a vet alliance possibly going on. I worry for them. And for that, I would say that they are a dead team walking.
Dead team walking. I could see them in that position for sure. What about, though, potentially stirring the pot? We saw them making that little deal with Horacio and Olivia. And we heard also, like I mentioned before, that Darrell says he doesn't have any alliances in this game. And I'm wondering if the rookies are going to scoop them up, potentially, maybe protect them. And if they do win a daily, because we're going to get trivia. And if Veronica's around, she wins trivia most of the time she plays. So maybe they're going to win a daily, and maybe they will protect the rookies here. So I'm wondering if we might have them stir in the pot a little bit, for the fact that we saw that they made a deal. They made a deal with the devil, not with the vets.
I think that next week we could possibly be putting them in pot stirring via the preview where Darrell says that he's here to rustle up some feathers or ruffle up some feathers, however you call it, whatever you're rustling or ruffling or whatever you do to feathers. But this episode, I felt like they were pretty muted and they didn't make a deal until they were told to make the deal. Like Nelson and Nerys basically from a position of power was like, hey, you go make the deal to Olivia and Horacio and you need to go talk to them, which it sounded like they didn't even talk to them at all at the beginning of this whole just walking into the game. So if they were, and we didn't even get to see Darrell and Amber talk to each other, but Amber is super excited that Darrell's in the game, where we could have easily seen a conversation of like, hey, I'm really happy that you're here. I'm finding my footing more with the rookies, and I would really like for you to come over on my side or for us to keep on looking out for each other. And Darrell being excited to have at least some numbers, but all we hear is we don't have numbers. We don't have numbers, which is scary. That's scary to hear, especially in a house where Bananas and Jordan, who you kind of were, no, well, at least Jordan, who you were just on a season with, and he took you out. So I don't know if he wants to be working with Jordan if Jordan took him out.
So I don't know if they're dead team walkie though. You think that they are going to be in the zone next week?
I'm worried that they're not going to do. How well could they be at the competitions? I mean, Darrell and Veronica, I knew that Veronica wasn't going to make that jump. So it makes me worried about how well they're going to compete. Will they ever get into power? Maybe trivia, like you were saying, but out of all of that, I don't exactly know if they will get into power at all this season. And with numbers dwindling, and they are already sent in episode 1 that they walk into the house, I feel like it could be like a normal thing to be like, send them in kind of vibe.
So you don't want to put them in your double dealing category for the fact that, you know, they definitely are dealing with the rookies, and it's presumed that there's been some sort of talk that we just haven't seen with the vets, definitely with Anisa. You really think that they're going to be gone next? I guess I could see it.
I mean, for double dealing, you need to make a deal with one side, and all we heard was they have no numbers.
No, but they made a deal with Horacio and Olivia.
But they didn't make a deal with anybody else. Like we have no idea that if they're even working closely with Bananas and Jordan or
but it's
Anisa.
Also with them making a deal with Horacio and Olivia, they're also making a deal with Nelson, because Nelson suggested that they did that.
I don't know.
MV says that Veronica said on Instagram that she missed the jump because Darrell didn't let go, so she couldn't reach. Interesting. Darrell can get Jordan Bananas on his side. So where do you think? Do you guys think dead team walking or double dealing for Darrell and Veronica? I feel like they are ahead of Michelle and Jay, if they're on that tier. All right. Well, unless people object, we will leave it at that so far. Okay, Drew. Who's next?
I guess we can go with Jordan and Anisa, because I want to save Olivia and Horacio and Nelson and Nerys for the last two.
Sure.
Because I think they're the most interesting. I don't know where to put them, to be honest. They did great. They were one of only 2 teams to be able to complete the daily. And again, I mean, I guess if we talked about Tori kind of stirring the pot with getting into a bed with the ex-fiance, I would have to say the same thing with Jordan. I mean, Anisa didn't do jack diddly this episode, besides she hanging on the bar. Yeah. So, I mean, and not for long either. So, I mean, but they at least grabbed the flag. So I guess I would put them at stirring the pot. I don't have much else to say about this duo.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. It's I'm gonna say stirring the pot because they are so phony with how much they are like, you did that, you did that, you did that. Like it's just like it's really annoying. And so
I thought it was a
that's
little cute.
stirring the pot within me. um, making my blood boil. I'm fine with them being here. I don't really see them double dealing right now. We're not haven't really seen that much of their strategic stuff going on. We know that Jordan isn't really that strategic. He just like wins and goes down if he has to. Like he doesn't usually, we saw him have the conversation with Johnny when he first got there, but that's not really his style of gameplay. So I don't see him making any deals with anybody. I think that would be Anisa that would be doing that. Um, Dead Team Walking, I could also maybe see them in that position because who's really protecting them? I'm not sure. But the vets probably want to keep them as a layup team. And the rookies, I don't know, maybe the rookies will throw them down because we've been hearing that Anisa hasn't been very friendly to some of them. So maybe they're Dead Team Walking.
I could definitely see that with the rookies wanting to send her in. I could see like Fessy and Mariah wanting to send both of them in. He doesn't have the best relationship with either one of them, but for anybody that
Or they
sends
got the flag, you're saying.
Well, I'm just thinking of like to overall, like Fessy doesn't have the best relationship with Jordan after the whole thing with Tori, and then Anisa after Double Agents. They may look after each other or have an understanding or acquaintance with each other, but I mean, he was ready to drop her at the drop of a hat, thinking that they were friends or whatever. But I think with Jordan and Anisa, it may not be direct, but I think it's like a ripple effect of saying like, if you take a shot at Jordan and Anisa, then Tori and Devin are upset, which then upsets Bananas and Nany. They may not be directly involved with Bananas and Nany, but it is like a rippling effect of like, you're taking out at least one number in my camp that I will be annoyed with you at. But I agree with you that there might be some rookies that are looking at maybe Anisa and Jordan being like, we should test them, or I'm not vibing with either one of them, so let's throw them in,
I see it. Well, for now, let's leave them here. Is that the right position for them in stirring the pot, or do you think that they are ahead of either Chauncey and Amber or Devin and Tori?
I feel like they're here, personally, above Amber and Chauncey. We could keep them here. The only thing it would be is just moving them 1 inch higher.
Because they did.
And that's it.
They won some power this week, or they almost won some power this week. Whoops.
Yeah. But that's it. I think they're fine there.
Yeah.
Unless you want to move them up all the way to the front, because that's
okay.
That second place finish. Okay.
I just feel like Tori's going to be messier than Jordan. So.
Okay. So, yeah, I can see that.
Basically.
I can see that.
Okay, so I'm going to leave you and have your favorite team here to place last. So I'm going to go with Team Love Island here. We got Olivia and Horacio. And I'm enjoying them. I'm so surprised by Olivia. I love what she's bringing to the table. I love that she's a regular person that's doing extraordinary things. Like she's bringing in strategy. She's just a really well-rounded rookie right now, and I'm enjoying that big time. So I want to put them. You can fight me at this, but I want to put them at the top. They are doing well. They have rookies that are willing to work with them. They are feared by everyone. They're coming up with plans. She's in a Showmance. He's in a Showmance. Like they kind of are being covered at all bases. And the only reason why they are being thrown in is because they're rookies. And so I feel like they have earned their stripes. And it's going to get them a callback for future seasons. I even think that it's possible for them to win this season. Who knows? Like they might just be able to take out everyone. At this point, I can see anything can happen with this particular team. I have a lot of faith that I don't know what they're capable yet completely. So I'm going to put them at the top of the list here this week. Fight me on it.
I mean, I was initially thinking stirring the pot for this episode because they didn't really do a whole lot this episode besides come up with the mastermind plan, which is like 90% of the episode. And so they were able to have the stirring the pot, kind of scare the house, be like, whoa, what happened? Nelson threw you in, and they were able to pull it off pretty greatly. Taking their whole season under account, I would definitely say earn their stripes. I think they earned their stripes by episode 3, last episode, if not the second episode of the season. So I would say that, in my opinion, to get into everybody's good graces after what happened last week, I would say that I'm cool with putting Olivia and Horacio up at the top and earn their stripes, because I think overall they have earned their stripes. They have shown so much this season, and every time that they're on the confessionals, I love them. Olivia has given us every single aspect of what the challenge is. She's shown us heart. She's shown us physicality. She's shown us no quit. She's given us personality, and she's given us hookups and a little bit of drama calling people out. I mean, what more do you ask for? I mean, 100% is what you... I'm so happy that she was not on the Challenge USA, because she would not have been on this season. I mean, I think she was an alternate for USA, and I'm so glad that they were like, pull you away and we'll put you over here, because I am much more enjoying her here than I would have been in the format and the way the house went in USA. So I'm super happy that they're here. And without Olivia on this season, we wouldn't have gotten Horacio probably. So I'm super happy to be talking about them here. And yes, I'll put them up at the top.
So Willie is agreeing with us here. Horacio and Olivia are playing a great game. I think they should be at the top because of their game. Their gameplay is so good. So they have earned their stripes with going down into eliminations and coming back out. But I think that they earned their stripes for me this episode with being strategic. We weren't sure how strategic she was going to be fully, and even when she started suggesting, you never suggest going in, but it actually ended up working out, and it shows that she's willing to play the game. She's also showing that she's willing to still protect. Like, she doesn't want Nelson to be in the bad graces of the vets, and that's smart, right? Because like if he's still in there, that's better for her and her game potentially later. So she earned her stripes for me this episode with the gameplay. And as you said, I think that she's an exceptional challenger so far. She is everything that we want a challenger. And Horacio also is a beast. What a great duo. Earn their stripes, in my opinion, for sure. So you're going to take your duo, your girl Nerys and your boy Nelly T.
I mean, I think it's easy to say that it's earned their stripes. This episode, they won the daily. They are in power. They make a move. Yes, thanks in part or large part by Nerys and Olivia and their strategy, not only in the daily, but to be able to nominate everybody that they did and have no blowback, zero blowback from anybody. They like nobody. And Colleen and Kim aren't even upset with Nelson and Nerys. They're more upset with Olivia and Horacio. So honestly, they get all the benefits, none of the repercussions, I feel, and they're in a great spot in this game. I even talk about it in my Tiny Table Talk. I just don't think that I think they're in a really good setup. I mean, you have Nerys, who is strategic, who wants to make moves, but then you have Nelson, who has finally a good social standing in the game. Finally, like no Hunter, no Corey. His two closest allies aren't in the game. And it's ironic that without those two very close confidants, that he's in a way better position than he's ever been in a challenge season. I mean, he finally won something. He normally, by this time, he's being thrown into an elimination. He's having to fight for everything that he has to, his right to stay in the game. And here he is. He's working great. And like we were talking about with Olivia, Nerys is giving us everything that we would want from a challenger. And I'm not going to reiterate I'm not going to reiterate everything I just said about Olivia, but take everything I just said and put it to Nerys, and she's giving us everything. I mean, everything.
Yeah, well,
It's
I mean,
awesome.
I'll reiterate it for you. I agree. Like, she's giving strategy, she's giving hookups, she's giving, like, we know that she's gonna give a little bit of drama at some point. If someone does her wrong, it's coming. Um, she had the optimum strategy for the daily, which I believe she probably told Olivia and Horacio for them to be able to complete, be very close to also grabbing that flag. And so she is the Nelson whisperer. She has got Nelson that win, and that is because she's a really good ride or die for him. The fact that when he was saying, they're talking on the bed before they went out to the club, and he was like, like, I have all these relationships with the vets, and he's like, you're a rookie and this and that. She doesn't even get offended. She's like, yeah, true. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? She just takes it. I'm like, yes, you are responding, correctly, in the sense that not getting all upset because you're a rookie and you can't do what you want to do in the game because you're touched. Like, she doesn't get pouty about it. She's like, okay, yeah, I understand that. Okay. And then she works with him. And I think that is like, kudos to you, girl, because you've done what Corey couldn't do, what Hunter couldn't do. Like, you were able to get Nelson in a really great place, and you got him that win after years and years of failures in the dailies. Yeah, she's definitely the Nelson whisperer. So for that alone, I think that earned stripes undoubtedly is the position that they need to be in here. I know that it must have felt amazing for Nurys to win a daily, to be the person that helped Nelson win his first daily in 54 dailies. Wow. Yeah, I think she definitely has earned her stripes this episode. We already were talking about how she's super great addition, should be invited back all the time. But this episode, I do think she earned her stripes. She will get the call back every single time at this point. Like, this is the revolution, the evolution and revolution of new challengers. These two rookies being besties, Nurys and Olivia, are about to take over the game, I think, or like the series on a whole. Like, I think that they're going to be part of mandatory casting moving forward, and I think that means they earned their stripes.
The top three that we have right next to each other with Nurys, Horacio, and Olivia should all just be like one-way ticket to every single challenge. We'll call you. You're at the top of the list. Like, we need those three back, and then maybe Johnny down at the bottom because we need mess. We need mess. I do want to add two things real quick, and that is, can we all agree that maybe Nelson in the ranking of TYB, and if there are your partner, that Nelson is probably the best partner to have out of the three TYB players, because him and Nurys work so well together. He's so supportive. He listens to everything she has to say and then responds, and they just work so well with each other. I don't think I've seen Corey.
I think it's because he knows that she's smart, and he just lets her take the reins. Corey has a little bit more of an ego in that way, and I think that he thinks he's right more times than he's not. And Hunter, I don't even know. I'm not. I definitely.
He's trash. Dumpster fire. Basically.
Exactly. So I do think that he's probably the best partner, Nelson, out of the three.
Yes. The other one is how good. I love when rookies. I just ran into two there. I love when rookies come onto the show and know the show that they're on. Because when talking about the bed scene, when they're talking going right before going to the bar, Nurys was talking about wanting to make a move against two vets because she was worried, because what if something changes on this show? What if something happens where I'm not connected to you anymore? She could be talking about further seasons, but I also thought that she was talking about this season. What if we get split up? It becomes a solo season, or we're now on different sides. What if this turns into a bloodline kind of vibe where now we're split up two different teams and I'm not connected with you directly, and I get screwed over because we're not connected anymore. I thought that was super smart of her to be like, what if it's like 37, there was a change up. We could have a change up like 27. Like, we got to think about this. And I love that they're talking about every single possibility going through this game, because that's the only way you're going to be able to figure this out. I think Nelson for so long was playing checkers And we hear from Nerys here being like, I'm thinking 12 moves ahead before
and
we're moving on.
Nelson made that analogy this episode. He did say, like, I'm not playing checkers anymore, I'm playing chess. So I think that because Nerys is strategic, like, this is the first time he's had a partner or people that he's working with that are actually strategic. And, you know, Corey, I'm sorry, is not strategic at all. Neither is Hunter. Really, they all play quite emotionally and very reactive, and loyal, absolutely, but like they don't think about putting themselves in good positions. It could be because Nelson hasn't won power in recent years, and so it's hard to really be able to strategically place yourself when you aren't the person that people are coming to because you have power all the time. So I think that that's also why he's kind of in complacent positions up until this episode. So I think that this is an evolution of Nelson as well, for the fact that he's working for the first time with a strategic person. And as soon as that happens, he's able to win a daily. And it's because she had the strategy around the best way to win that daily. So I think this is a new evolution for Nelson. And as Dolores is saying here, I think it is a birth of the future veterans. I think that these are future vets right in front of us. If they want to come back, I think that they will get the call.
Please.
For sure. For
Please.
sure.
I mean, we haven't gotten a lot of them come back in recent seasons. So I'm really praying that these rookies that are actually really exciting and having a lot of positivity, like there's a lot of positive energy this season compared to especially last season, especially the season before and Total Madness. Like whatever the producers are seeing from social media or whatever, like take this as a good sign because there's so much positivity, especially around the rookies. There was a ton of rookies last season that just got kind of buried and nobody wanted to see them or people were tired of them. We're finally getting some positive energy around these rookies. So please invest in them. Please invest and show us more from them because this is the future of your show. If people want to see Johnny, people want to see Nerys, Horacio, and Olivia, make the world move to put them on the next 3 seasons and get some more variables with these other vets in the game and let them shine. Just let them shine and do their thing and be more of the face of the show because we haven't gotten this positivity around a lot of the rookies or the new people in quite a while. So please, producers, you may or may not be watching this, but please invest in these people, please.
I agree. They need to invest in these people. So anything else to say about our power rankings this week, or should we move on to how we're doing in the draft? I feel like I'm going to be falling far behind and you are going to be rising.
I will say that I'm actually quite surprised just from where we began in this week, where we brought in the Sunday grandmas thing and only one team was put in there. The team in there did not surprise me, but I'm surprised that more people aren't in that one. But maybe later on we'll see more people in grandma's house.
So tell me about our draft. What's going on here?
It's quite interesting. Things are happening as we saw some movement a little bit in the rankings for this past week. And coming in at 3rd place, I'm sorry, Chantele, but your team is now in 3rd place, only getting about 26 points this past week's episode. And you got from 108 to 134 in points. That was with Tommy and Annalise getting quite a bit of confessionals, but they were eliminated from the game. Casey and Kenny, I mentioned, only got you 1 confessional together, and they DQ'd, so that was -2. So they net you -1 points this week, which is terrible. Amber and Chauncey at least got you some points, even after the DQ, and Bananas and Nani got you maybe 4 points altogether with their confessionals and their DQ. Not a great sign, but I do think that there could be more points on your horizon because, Bananas and Nani are just kind of waiting underneath the surface. And we talked about Amber and Chauncey kind of like stirring the pot a little bit. So maybe there's some more points on the horizon for you. I believe it. You're on your own with Casey and Kenny, though. And coming in second place, Chris taking over from third place to now first place. All in well helping is Colleen and Kim winning an elimination, also getting some makeout points. Nelson and Reese getting the daily win. And that's basically it. That was majority of his points. He went from 89 points last week to now 150 points this week, jumping up 61 total points. Absolutely incredible. His number one team is, no surprise, Nelson and Reese. Your number one team is, of course, Bananas and Nani with 42 points altogether. And you also now have the worst performing team of Casey and Kenny at 6 points total. Yeesh, that sucks. I didn't think it would be that low. Holy heck. This is episode 4.
Who was the low one?
Casey and Kenny with 6 total points. That's wow. That's
irritating.
That's like Kendall from All Stars 2 type numbers.
Oh my god.
Where she left in episode 5 but only got 9 total points. My goodness. And team number 1 is me, Team Drew. I went from 143 last week to 177 this week. I went up about 34 points.
Wait, are you before or after Chris? Sorry, I thought you said Chris went to the top. No?
No, Chris is second place.
Okay.
I'm number 1.
Whatever.
And my leading scorer, of course, is Horacio and Olivia, my last pick team of the draft. They have 67 total points, 63 confessionals, and 2 elimination wins. So very much helping me out there. But it's still really, really close. I mean, I think this is the closest we've ever been within a four episode spread. Between you and me, there's only 43 points separating us both from first place and third place. I mean, that's really close. I mean, that's
considering
DQs.
I have like duds on top of duds.
Yeah, I mean, but you think about it. I mean, Amber and Chauncey win into power and then get 10 confessionals each. I mean, you're back up at the top, and then what? Tori and Devin keep on getting 3 confessionals every episode, and they don't have any foothold ever. I mean, it could easily switch up in the next couple episodes.
I do see my 3 teams lasting a decent amount of time.
Oh, heck yeah. 100%.
So fine. Okay, so that's it for the points, right? Do you have anything else to say?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, so my little game, you kind of stumbled onto the game itself.
I didn't think there was a game.
Yes, there's a game. I should have done this differently because I was thinking, because you won't be able to hear what I'm doing unless I put the share screen on. So you kind of already alluded to the game that we would be playing, but so we'll just start off with the first one. So you just would have to tell me what was going on when you heard this. So this will be the example. So when Love Shack by the B-52s was playing, what was going on in the episode, Drew?
That was all the hookups between Fessy, Colleen, Tori, Jordan, and Nelson and Olivia.
Excellent work. You are correct. All right. So now it's like, I did this incorrectly, but we should do this next. The next one will be, hold on. Okay. This is cute. Actually, we'll do this one. Are you nervous, Drew? Are you nervous?
I'm a little bit. I do want to say one thing. Dan, I just want to say we did those drafts back in June. So I'm just throwing that out there. I went with all my research and everything. And that's why Laurel and Veronica are not on Nobody Has Them, because they were not on the reported rumor list yet. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Just wanted to throw that out there.
And
I have a stacked team because my brain is stacked.
Ooh, its brain is stacked. All right. Your second musical question is, what was going on when this song was playing?
Yeah, I'm like, oh God, oh my God, bitch, I run the game, y'all just commentate from the side. I'm like,
that was Laurel and Veronica's entrance, which really good entrance, by the way. I love these entrance songs. Like, they should have like walk-up music for the eliminations.
They should, absolutely, when people are like, all being all tough, especially because they do it. I think they do it in All Stars. But I love when they're in those hallways and you got some hype, pump up music. Okay, what about this one? Hold on, it's coming. I have to figure out how to do this quicker. Are you ready for this one?
Do you still believe in one another?
What was going on in the episode when that song was playing? Hey Brother by Avicii.
Wasn't that the transition when Tommy and Annalise were talking and then they were going to the elimination? Because she said something about like Tommy being her brother or something, I believe.
Yes and no. So yes, it starts off with them getting ready to go into the zone, and it was Kim and Colleen having the confessional, talking about like, we're like brothers, you finish each other's sentences. Mm-hmm. This song was playing at that time, but good job, you pretty much got that. What about this one? Computer's being slow, but oops. Okay. Song was playing during the episode. X's and O's by Ellie King.
I remember it playing, but I don't. It would have to be something. I would think it would have to be something to do with Tori and Jordan, but they only had that really one scene and that was the B-52s. So was it something with Jay and Michelle? They were jumping. I don't know.
You are incorrect. Finally incorrect here, Drew. No, that song started playing when Laurel was confessing her crush with Horacio, the hugging part after showing the bit at the bed and waking up. They played this song. Boom.
Odd. That was odd because they're not exes and he's not from the UK. So that's a weird choice.
I didn't do it. I didn't make this playlist. Okay, what about? Okay, if you're ready for it.
Bitches wanna die. All I know is pain.
When was Rough Riders Anthem by DMX playing during this episode?
That was definitely the changing and then walking up to the daily challenge, I believe.
Yes, Drew, you are correct once again. All right, hold on. This one is an easy one.
That song is going to be stuck in my head forever. I mean, it never went out of my head, but then when I watched it multiple times this episode, I was like, oh my goodness, yeah. Now it's DMX is staying there forever.
They played it once in I don't know, maybe it was another DMX song, but in All Stars, and I remember it stayed in my head for a while. Mm-hmm. I think it was All Stars.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember which All Stars, but I remember they played something. I think it was one it was close to when he passed, I believe, when they played it.
Don't remember, but do you remember where this song was played during the episode?
When I see your light shine, I know I'm home. If you're waiting all your life.
We're Going Home by Venus Joy. Or Vance Joy, sorry, kidding. When was that played during the episode?
That was like when Tommy and Annalise got eliminated and Tommy was twerking in the elimination, right? When he was walking out the door.
Correct. Okay, I only have a couple more left.
This is just a great soundtrack so far for this season. Like way better than the last few seasons. Like they're not taking themselves as seriously so they can play these songs. And it just fits. It's not like super serious or
what do you so funny enough, we don't get the playlist in Canada. I was like, wait, we don't actually get the playlist. So when I usually do get it is when I'm watching on Paramount Plus and I'm watching it and I'll get the normal playlist. But when I watch it in Canada on MTV Canada, we do not receive the playlist. So I had to watch it on MTV.com to know what songs are being played here.
I can see that. I think I used Canada a few times during 37 because the episodes weren't up on the US site, and I could just tell there was a difference. It was like a different vibe. I was like, whoa, okay.
Well, it's like all that middle, like music, kind of in between music is what it's through the entire episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, so it's very familiar as to like the challenge. But then when I watch it on MTV.com, I'm like, oh wait, there's actually music, which would make sense because it's a music station or music channel. Okay, what about? Or used to be, yeah. Now it's just ridiculousness.
RTV, ridiculous TV.
Are you living your life or just waiting to die? The fight.
When was Back to Earth by Steve Aoki played during this episode?
That was the bar scene, right? The beginning of the bar scene / going to the bar scene.
You got it, Drew. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And we have I think I have one last one. Yeah, one last one.
Much better song to start off the bar scene than the one last week because I've watched Love at First Lie for the first time last week after the challenge episode, and they played the same song, the bar scene song, in both those shows back to back. I was like, what? Did they run a sale on that song? Why is MTV like really into that song this week in particular? So I was happy with that song.
I don't remember what the song was last week, but I believe you.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, the last one. It's gonna be.
Everything I do is righteous. Betting on me is the right risk. Even in a fucking crisis, I'm never on some switch side shit. I switch gears to the night.
Give me the.
Last night took a L, but tonight I bounce back, boy. I've been broke as hell. Catch the check and bounce back.
When was Big Sean's Bounce Back played during this episode?
That was after Nelly T got his win after a while and was coming back to the challenge house. I was surprised that they didn't do Ludacris's "Don't Call It a Comeback." I've been here for years, or that's not Ludacris, right? Is that? I don't know.
Call it a comeback. I don't know. Somebody. Yes. Well, you only got one incorrect. You did an excellent job this week on our game. I'm gonna figure something else that's gonna be different for next week, so you can't study. But thanks for being so willing to participate. We've been talking for longer than I thought we'd be talking for, but because it's so much fun. So thanks, Drew.
No, thank you. This was awesome. I had a great time talking about this episode. It was really fun to talk about everything in this episode. And yeah, whenever we get together on Fridays, it's a blast. I don't care if it's 8
Don't
or
call
noon.
it a comeback. Was LL
We
Cool
got
J.
it. LL Cool J, that's right. That's it. Man, I was...
Wait, okay. So Dan wants to know, can you guys play a game of Would You Rather Rookie Edition? Like, for example, would you rather Kels from last season or Horatio from this season? We can figure that out. Okay.
That could be interesting.
That's
Pretty
fun. We could maybe both make a list of like good and or bad comparisons and go back and forth. We could do that. That's fun.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
down.
We'll bring it in for next week, Dan. Thank you for the suggestion. Well, what do you have going on this week, Drew, before we say goodbye to everybody?
I got the same old happening. I got Patreon stuff happening on Saturdays and Wednesdays on patreon.com/angelcakevids. I have an edited version of this coming out on Monday. Then Tuesday, a challenge video. And then Thursday, review and recap of the Challenge 38 Ride or Dies episode of the week and Tiny Table Talk. And then here again on Friday. What time? Maybe 8. Maybe noon again. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. But look out, and I can't wait for next week to chat with you about the power rankings and the episode.
Yes, and unless we do Would You Rather, what game am I going to stump you on? Or try, anyways. Try and stump Drew. It's always a fun time. So thank you, everybody here in the chat. You guys make these power ranking episodes really fun. You guys are so engaging, and you do make this a good time on our Fridays. So thank you for being here. Even with the time change, you guys were here with bells on. So thanks once again. Thank you, Drew. You are the best. Make sure everybody subscribes to Angelcake Entertainment, as well as over here on Reality Realness with 3 S's. Like this video, please, and maybe leave a comment as to what kind of games should I stump Drew on. I don't think Drew reads my comments, so yeah, if you have any ideas, please put them in the comments, and we will be stumping Drew on a weekly basis. So you guys can be part of the stumping-a-thon. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, everybody.